some limbs are broken off of that one right there. You can see some trees are broken down there. See all those dead limbs there? That's from the tornado. That just simply snapped off that big tree. We're running over one right now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I can't even, I don't know where to drive. I can't. My goodness sakes alive. As we get now into Miss Piggy area, we can see what Apache was so, we're trying to figure out what to do. Those are all pecan trees. Giant, old pecan trees. These trees are older than me, and it is amazing what the tornado did through here. Will you look at that? Will you look at that? That tree right there pretty much just stripped it all out. Look at that big pecan tree right there. It just picked up from the roots. And this, I can't find the deer stand. That tree there is stripped. Oh, here's the deer stand right over here. Look how close these are to the deer stand. These big trees. I want to get out and walk around here a minute, but I'll just drive by and show you. This is right where you've seen me film a lot of just videos watching the deer. There's our deer stand right there. So probably no more than 75 to 100 feet away from that deer stand. And the deer stand is not hurt a bit. I mean, not hurt a bit. It's pretty amazing when you come and think about it. I want to get over there and get a little closer. Now this is really grown up. This is a big planted food plot around here as well. And it's really grown up. I have found a few rattlesnakes in this area, so I'm not too keen on walking around too awful much around here. Look at the big trees down over there, out in front of me there. Big trees down over here. Just absolutely incredible. I will get out and take a little closer look here. A little bit, or maybe just drive up here and shoot from the mule. I've got on shorts, so I don't want to be walking around too much out there in this high grass. Just stop right here for a second, shut this mule off. Well, what do you think, honey? Isn't that something? It's terrible, isn't it?
Yes.
Look at that big root wad right there to your right. That's a big, giant pecan tree. There's two big pecan trees right there that's down. I'm gonna get out here and walk around. I just need to be very, very careful. Very, very careful out here. Get out and walk around a little bit. And you can see I'm right here by this big tree right now. That's the trees right over there, and on that other side that's torn down. There's probably at least 10 or 12 big trees, and these are giant pecan trees. They're giant pecan trees. That's exactly what they are. Now that tree is still got the root system on it, and you can see that right there. That root system, pecan trees have tap roots. We'll look at that a little bit closer here in a minute. But that system has got a lot of dirt in it. Because it's got a lot of dirt in it, the leaves on these trees, I know there's the exact same way. You see the leaves still are green? The leaves are still green. Now they're gonna die. Now the limbs that are broken off and fall to the ground because they're broken are not getting that energy. And you can see that leaves right there are brown. That's from this tree right here. This tree right here is almost rooted out of the ground, and that's the big limb that broke. Look how large that limb is. Huge, huge limb. Now the rest of that tree is still rooted in the ground, and it's still alive. It's still getting water to it. You can see the base of it here. It's leaned over, but not quite down. Now that tree, I can't reach around that tree. That tree is too big to reach around. And you can tell really how big it is. That part up there is holding that tree up. That kept that tree from falling. And all that dead stuff on top is really from this big tree. The tree that's completely down, the root ball is keeping those leaves alive because it's tapped down into water. And there's another one that's out of the ground completely, another one out of the ground completely. Let's look around and see what else we can find. Amazing, isn't it, baby?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you take that big a tree, that's just how powerful those tornadoes are. You see how they tear the houses up so easily, don't you? Yeah, that's a giant tree. You and I both probably can't reach around it. If we stood there on both sides and tried to reach around, touch hands, we might not be able to do it on those trees. It's so big. But look over here at this guy. This is where it ripped it out of the ground, and this is where the water was running, sort of formed a little draw down through the water's running so much. But we take a look at that roots, and you can see there's still roots going down into the ground. You see those roots still going down into the ground? Some of them are broken off, but you see some that's still going into the ground. Those are tap roots. Those are tap roots. They go down into the tree. All of those big roots and tap into water sources, underground water sources. And that's why a pecan tree can live so well. These shallow roots here are all broke off, but those roots there on that tree are going down in there. And I don't really know what's going to happen. Now, we'll occasionally come up here with chainsaws and work on all these and clean this mess up, pretty this up, but it's a shame. We probably lost 8 or 10 or 12, I don't know how many big giant pecan trees. But again, we didn't lose our house, didn't lose any life, so these are trees that will grow back. They won't get back this size in our lifetime, but you look up through there, you can see them scattered on up through there. Looks like that tornado made a path right straight down through, and somehow might have touched down right here, just this side of that Wrangler deer stand, and went that way. We'll drive over and take a look at that, but it's a pretty amazing when you look at it. And this is exactly what happened to the national park, and exactly how so many trees were torn down, and then it went across the road and started hitting businesses and houses in the old downtown Sulphur, and that was pretty much gone, pretty much leveled. Have to rebuild that back. It'll be nicer than it ever was, but the old historic part is going to be gone. But you can see the tornado came right through. We're looking at the path that it took, came from behind me, went right that direction right there. And you can see as it came from that direction over there, you can see just how close it is to that deer stand. There's the deer stand. You can just barely see through the trees right there. And so we're not over about 40 or 50 feet away from it here. And the wind going the other direction, the straight winds and tornado, probably a combination of both. You can see that it's over that way too, about another 100 yards, and all tore up down through there and took the tops out of these trees as it went by. The elevation changes always helps you. Not 100% sure, baby, we could even get through here. We will try. Try to get in between these big pecan trees right here. I don't know if we can or not. Really wet down here as well. This is an area that gets a lot of moisture in it. That's a huge giant pecan tree. Might have to be getting in four-wheel drive. I don't know if we have a space that we could get through or not. Look at that. Look at that. And you can see those roots going down in the ground. See those great big giant roots going down in the ground? Those are tap roots. And they're tapped down into water. Now you see these over here are broken off. Now it probably will not supply the water to those trees enough to keep them alive too long. But those big giant tap roots are supplying water enough that is keeping that tree alive even though it's fallen down. God thought of everything, didn't he? He thought of everything. Big, beautiful, giant trees. That one there is not a pecan tree, and you can see that it has fallen and died. And I don't know, I'm not sure about that. That might have been a pecan tree. Now you get over here, as we look around, there's again more trees down over here. Giant, beautiful trees. You can see it's a pretty good hole in the ground right there that tree came out of. Big, beautiful trees. That limb there broke off, that tree broke off, and that tree's completely broken off. The stump is still there. That tree's broken off. That's why the leaves are all dead on that one. Looks like you might be able to get through right here. Looks like, here's a trail where Apache's driven through here with his mule. Lots of cleanup to do up here. Wish we could sell that pecan wood to somebody. You can see that the tornado went right out that way, and that's the last tree that's torn up right over there. It's kind of hard to tell shooting into the sun. This joins my neighbor's land where you get out of the woods and into the cattle country. Pat Howe Jr., that's Pat's land. And he is really a big cattle farmer. He provides y'all with a lot of steaks, a lot of hamburger meat. Beautiful, beautiful several thousand acre ranch over there. Really, really knows his business. Several generation rancher and a great neighbor. Well, as I get over here, I find there's another big tree that's down right in the middle of, looks like it picked that tree up, pulled it out of the ground right in the middle of a lot of others that it did not pull down. Tore some limbs up right there, but that tree is down, and in a space it's really hard to get through, but I wouldn't even have noticed it probably had it not been dead. That's a super thick area. Yet it tore that big tree down and fell right in the middle of that super thick area. Hey baby, how are you doing? Isn't that gorgeous? We come up here and she let us stop right here beside of her. Now I don't know if she feels safe because she's on the other side of the fence, or she has no tag, so she was not born in a pen. She was born in a wild. And I got Benelli right here with me, and she just feels perfectly safe. She looks like she still may be carrying a baby. She may have a baby close by. She's gonna try. She's just trotting off. She didn't run off at all. Just trotted off a little bit, went around the corner. I bet she's got a baby close by. Was that special? Oh, was that special? I love it. There's some of our deer. I'll zoom in as far. That's our bucks. It's forest. You're right, honey. Chris said it's forest. Looky there. Those are all bucks right there. Now that forest, you can see why he's not at the house. We're a mile and a half away. You look out through there, there's quite a few deer scattered off out through there. As we make a slow pan, there are several deer out there. Some of them are moving away. Those two look like they're bucks also. Probably a half a dozen bucks right there. There's an elk out there. There's some more elk off to the left. And probably a few more deer out there too. That field, that's a field that we call the elk field because the elk love that field, but it's a field that pretty much always has deer. It's a a large planted food plot as well. I've got it zoomed out all the way to 9 right there, so it's hard to hold it steady. It's not on a tripod, I'm just holding it by hand. But Mr. Forrest is out there. I think at one of those two deer right there, I believe is Forrest. Just looking at the antlers. The other one might be Fat Boy. Forrest and Fat Boy is running together. You can see both those deer are extremely big, extremely healthy. And I believe that's who they are. And that kind of looks like maybe Fat Boy looking at us. And that looks like Forrest back behind. Forrest is really getting large. Now I think I can see the little green collar between his antlers and his ears. He's kind of antlered up. That big elk running out there. I don't know what she's running from. She took off running all of a sudden. Quite a few deer scattered all out through there. Something scared her. Might be a coyote walked out there somewhere. I sure don't see one. I have a 223 that if we see one walking around, we'll turn it loose. Yes, we will. I had driven on down the road just a little bit and actually got closer to those deer. And you can see that there is a lot of deer out there, and that definitely is Mr. Forrest. The back deer is Forrest, I believe. And the front deer might be TC, I'm not positive. But you can see that is definitely Forrest, I believe. Yeah, I can see the green on him right there. Yes, I can. Yeah, that's Forrest. I think that might be TC. There's some other bucks, does and stuff out there. Lots and lots of deer right there in that little area. There's a lot for them to eat. They don't come to the house every day. Forrest is seemingly becoming a wilder deer all the time. Although you can see he definitely didn't move from me much at all. Beamer's moving around, shaking the mule, and I've got it zoomed out almost all the way. That's all the way. That's all I got right there. Beamer moving around, shaking the mule. Well, that's a pretty sight right out there in that big food plot. Another deer, several bucks there, several does as well. And Mr. Forrest. Yep, I can see the green collar barely in between his antlers. Look at that, look how white he's getting. He is going to be special. In between his antlers and his ears. Looks like he's got something on wrapped around him for a toothache. That's a pretty special sight right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 or 9 right there. Forrest might be just the bull of the woods. I did look back up there, but if you look back up, there's a couple more elk back up there. Those aren't really too awful far from the deer, but they're not with the deer. They're just with each other. And the deer are actually kind of working their way out toward where those elk are. The elk aren't very far away. And come over here, not very far. I have a tendency to pan way too fast. Finally, there they are. There they are. Antlers growing rapidly. Pan fast. Don't get dizzy. There they are. Not actually that far away from them. Well, looky there, baby. Another little bunch of elk. How many's there? Just a couple? Just 2? Yeah. Gosh, they're big animals, aren't they? Scared, but they're not super friendly either. Remember that one day, honey, when we were going to church? We come up here and there was a big bull. It was rutting season. Oh, excuse me. It was rutting season. We come up here to the shooting range. She's right there. The shooting range. And it was about halfway down there, about the 100-yard marker. First marker is 50. Second's 100, third's 200. About the 100-yard marker, there was a big bull with about 14 or 15 cows standing right in the middle of the shooting range. Live target practice. He's still running around somewhere.
There's one right.
That sky's looking pretty back there. Oh my, oh my. Red sky at night, sailor's delight, nice and calm. But the storms are coming. 80% chance of rain tomorrow. There's my heart that somebody sent me on a little necklace I hang up there. American flag necklace. Lucy. Remind me of my baby deer, Lucy. Hanging right there on that mirror. Reminds me every day of Lucy, the world's greatest deer. Pretty well known too. Certainly a dandy. Well, we made it back home right before dark, made Holly Hill before dark. We got a little welcoming committee here. Little buddy's here eating out of the feeder. He's just pretty doggone friendly. See, his antlers are getting a little bit bigger. That'll be his second antlers. They're gonna be pretty nice. It's just about dark is why that's so grainy and ugly looking. And you back out away from it and make it clear up some, but of course you're further away from the deer. But he's right there by the feeder. See the feeder, so he's right here. Pull up here where we got Chris's Jazzy. The woods are getting dark. Daytime is about to turn into nighttime. And we may have rain before daylight. Definitely supposed to have rain tomorrow. And they're talking lots of it, big waves of it coming in. Chris's Jazzy sitting there waiting on her. My beautiful Chris waiting there. What do you think, baby? That's a nice ride, wasn't it? Wasn't that fun? Saw Forrest out there. He's about a mile and a half from home or more. He needs to come home and get some free food, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yes, he does. I love you, babe.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. That'll wrap this branch ride up. Y'all remember, we surely love you.